Hello and welcome to Autofocus. Today we are on the outskirts of Kochi to drive a car that has defined mobility for a lot of Indians. This is a brand that has put Indians on four wheels, and this is a brand that is an extremely important car that is going to still give a lot of Indians the hopes and dreams of owning a four-wheeled passenger vehicle. And I'm talking about the Maruti Suzuki Alto, and in this specific instance the Alto K10. The Alto K10 was the car to choose before the Alto 800 became the only vehicle available. In 2019 the K10 was discontinued for a while because of the transition to BS6. This new Alto K10 allows Maruti to get back into the game with a BS6 compliant vehicle that is grown in proportions slightly, that has also become a little more mature, a car that's come back after nearly 3.5 years. What has changed under the skin is the fact that it gets a brand new platform, the Suzuki Hardtech platform, a platform that we've seen with cars like the Swift, and yet here it is an adapted version of that platform for its footprint, the smaller size. In fact, what's under the skin here is pretty much identical to the Maruti Suzuki Espresso. The Espresso is a car that's been around for a while. This gets pretty much the same platform underpinnings. There are some changes of course to the suspension setup and things like that because it's a little lower set compared to the Espresso, which is a little high sprung, but what you get here is the platform from that car, and this is a platform that's inherently stronger, is capable of meeting the new collision and crash test norms. This is a safer bet for sure compared to the Alto K10 of the past, but that's exactly what you get underneath. So the new Alto K10 is a slightly bigger vehicle. The footprint is larger, the wheelbase is increased by about 20 mm, and the front overhang is now a little 5 mm or so lesser. It does get more space in the cabin because of the larger footprint, and the space just doesn't end only with the passenger space available in the front and rear. It has also led to an increase in boot space by about 40 liters. The capacity now is about 217 liters of luggage space in the boot. The car stance has improved. It does still look very compact. It is about 3.5 meters long, but the point is that this platform change and the new dimensions allow for a better ride and more space in the cabin. That's the inner story of the new Alto K10. It does have minor family references to it. There is a little bit of the Espresso, a little bit of the new Celerio, especially at the rear, and the tail lamps, as you can see, has a few references, and it's a good thing that there is a bit of the family design that's been built into every vehicle from Maruti. And this one of course is very different from the Alto K10 of the past. Surfaces are clean, the shut lines are tighter, the overall finish quality is smoother, more suave. The new grille of course is a standout. There are some elements there that gives you the vibe of it being a little premium even within the entry small car segment. This is a car that still delivers huge amount of numbers for Maruti. The Maruti still has about 90% small car segment now, and this is very much more appealing within that segment. Yes, you do see that it is a entry small car still, and yet there are elements there, and the overall design impact is much better. It does not look like it's been built to a price now. There is a lot more in terms of attractiveness within this segment with this new Alto K10. With an increase in 20 millimeters for the wheelbase, the new Alto K10 also gets an increase in cabin space. Legroom is up 60 millimeters. Knee room is also been increased, also through a slightly deeper design for the dashboard, liberating a little more knee room even for the front passenger. Ingress and egress for rear passengers has been improved, and of course the boot has increased by about 40 liters. The Alto K10 of course, has about 5 variants on offer. Trim levels vary based on which variant you would choose. VXI variant I was driving was the fully loaded version, and it does get quite a lot of kit now compared to the previous K10. A lot of it is focused on improving drivability. Most of the buyers in this segment would be driving the car themselves, so some of these additions are quite welcome. One of them, of course, is the 7-inch Smart Play audio infotainment system featuring smartphone navigation and smartphone connectivity, including Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and some of the studio apps that come embedded with it. Also, operating these is now easier thanks to steering mounted controls, something that is again a welcome addition in a segment like the Altos. It also gets a digital speedometer. Display is fairly compact and very simplistic, and at the same time it does get a fairly appealing overall design and layout within the digital instrument cluster. Speakers now on all 4 door panels, improved audio output, and a general feeling of fit and finish inside the cabin is certainly a big jump for a car in this segment. It is still a lot of plastic around you, but it is now much better finished and much better fitted on to the dashboard and to the doors. You also get the option of personalizing the new Alto K10, the 3 new color options and accessory kit, a genuine accessory kit which has been named Impacto and Glinto. Both of these are dealer fitments, but certainly can improve the overall impact of the car with some nice stickers and additions inside the cabin. New safety features. It's dual airbags now standard, anti-lock braking system with electronic brake force distribution. The seat belts, that's the other addition which is certainly welcome. Seat belts now get a pre-tensioner and force limiter for the front 2 seat belts, and of course it now gets reverse parking sensors as standard fitment. Some of the other features would be variant driven. The 1-liter K10C engine that we've seen in Maruti's other cars already. The Espresso, for example, has the same engine, and the Celerio 2 has the same engine. The engine in the new Alto K10 delivers the exact same power and torque as it does in the other 2 cars. In terms of state of tune, it's the same. Power output, it is about 49 kilowatt or about 67 PS of peak power and about 89 Newton meters of torque. This engine is paired with the same manual transmission and the AGS, automated gear shift transmission, that is proprietary to Maruti, and this car gets the same transmission too. So in terms of overall feel, it is very similar. Of course, in terms of weight, there will be minor variation between these 3 cars, but the Alto K10 now is certainly more refined than the previous Alto K10. Maruti has been the pioneer and the leader in small displacement engines. In that regard, this one here is clearly a step up for Maruti, especially for an entry car like the Alto K10. Now, the refinement is very, very evident when you go take this out on the road, in terms of vibrations, in terms of the amount of noise that seeps in terms of the engine character, even when you are listening to the engine from inside the cabin. All of this is better. It's certainly, even on door panel vibration, this is better. So this certainly is an upgrade for people looking for an entry small car, and the K10C engine genuinely delivers on that front. That said, it still feels like a small car, it behaves like a small car, it has that same sort of displacement limitation that you see with the other Maruti cars that feature the same engine and transmission. Today is the day of turbocharged 1-liter engines, which don't 3-cylinder engines which don't behave quite like them in terms of character, but this one here is a dual VVT, dual jet engine. It certainly delivers on refinement, and yet in terms of peak performance, it's certainly not like any of the turbocharged 1-liters. That said, it exactly meets the purpose of the Alto, and if you have been out there looking for an entry small car that is still delivering decent refinement, this could be what you've been looking for. The prices start from about 3.99 lakhs, as has been announced just a day before. That of course is for the standard variant. The variant's strategy includes the typical nomenclature that Maruti employs: LXI, VXI, VXI Plus, and these being the VXI Plus and above being the top variants. LXI would probably be the variant that you should be looking at if you're a really entry-level car buyer. The standard is stripped down, it has very few features. The LXI Plus and the VXI Plus are the two variants in which you will get the automated gear shift transmission. Otherwise you would be choosing the manual transmission. The price differential between the equivalent manual and the AGS, as Maruti calls it, is about 50,000 rupees. So at about 4.99 lakhs is where is the mid-spec variant, and I would assume that that's the kind of spec that you should be looking at if you are expecting a certain level of comfort. That said, the new Alto K10 is still quite good looking overall from the outside. Clean surfaces, very flush finishes even in the cabin. Crevices, the joints, all of them are clean. There is still a lot of plastic, and yet the cabin is definitely looking like an upgrade over the previous Alto K10. So that then is the Alto K10. It's good to see it having been reborn the way it has.